So what's happening with Helldivers 2? Did Sony really get defeated? Are the developers of Helldivers 2 responsible? Are they not responsible? And what new amazing features are coming to the game? Maybe even a new faction?
Has teased the brand new cape reward we're going to get for the PSN drama. Hello everybody and welcome to the channel. So it's a little bit of a, well, I was going to say a cryptic teaser. It's not. It's just a sort of a shot of the right hand side kind of lower section of the cape, and you can see the red lines coming down. That is to indicate the massive negative review bombing on Steam. Now this cape, we do believe, or well, we know for a fact to be honest, is just going to be given to all players upon login. Now I'd imagine this is all.
That is hilarious and nice, and exactly what the community deserves. Something to remember.
Almost ready to go, and it's probably going to drop next week, maybe on Tuesday when they generally do an update. I'm also expecting some sort of a weapon balance update on Tuesday because there's been a massive disaster with the balance of the weapons in the recent war bond, i.e. they're just not very good. But yeah, this is cool to see. I wish you kind of showed it off in a bit more detail, but whatever, it's good stuff. Anyway guys, we've got a lot to cover in this video because yet again more countries have been removed from buying the game on Steam, but there is an explanation for this because we were believing this is something that Sony has done. It turns out it was Valve, but it turns out the situation once again is more complicated than we thought, and the CEO...
Wait. Now it's Valve doing it? I am so confused. Again, this whole Helldivers 2 debacle is so confusing. When is it Arrowhead's responsibility? Are they lying about this? Aren't they? Why are Sony? Why is everyone at Sony just a giant douchebag? Can't we just have a nice thing? We had such a nice thing for such a long time. Great game, amazing community, literally the works, a dream for gamers. And but nothing good ever lasts, does it?
Video does shine some light on this, and we've got some other stuff to cover in the video, notably around teasing the new enemy faction. Let's do this. Johan gives more insight into what's going on with Sony. Now, this is what he says. So to give an update on the 3 further country restrictions, it was an administrative error correction. They should have been part of the original restriction, and it was noticed when the restriction was put in place for Tsushima. This was noticed and executed independently by Valve. While it doesn't look positive, it is not an indication of further restrictions. The conversation is on region restrictions is still ongoing and is independent of this. I have no further information. We, Arrowhead, still want the game to be available everywhere. Hope you all have a great Saturday, and I'm sorry I don't have a better update. This was in response to this. Now, this is SteamDB updating with Ghost of Tsushima. Actually, that has got exactly the same restrictions as Helldivers 2 now, which of course this is a PSN required game, so it will not be available on Steam in regions where you cannot sign up for
Still funny
for a PSN, which is probably indicative of what's going on with Sony. But the big question here is this Sony actually doing this, or is it Valve preemptively doing this? Because they're basically saying, guys, if you're going to force PSN requirement on any of your PlayStation games that are added to Steam, then you simply cannot sell them in regions where you don't have PSN availability. And so are Steam coming in and sort of nuking this before it happens? Or is Sony doing this, in which case this is...
I mean, Steam definitely has most likely 100% the legal authority to do this, because they don't want illegitimate sales on their platform to a degree. Now, what constitutes as illegitimate? Do not ask me. Everything is kind of unique in that regard in a lot of cases. But Steam probably does not want to deal with this without any reason, because Steam's just going to have to refund them at the end if people do buy it in countries where they can't, and that's kind of just a hustle.
Sony basically saying, no, we're not going to sell games in countries where you can't sign up for a PSN, because ultimately we want everybody signed up to a PSN if they're playing on PlayStation rather to...
No, ultimately Sony wants you to eat the bugs and love the cricket juice. That's what they want you to do. They want you to live in a 5-minute city, and they want to be in charge of what you can and can't say. Again, I don't think the fight for democracy against Sony or, well, honestly, against anything has been won. This is just a slight step back, I feel, for Sony in the grand scheme of things. And they're gonna try again. They always try again. And then they're gonna ban you for saying, well, nothing. They're just gonna ban you because you're a bad person. Probably tweeted something bad 20 years ago. Hey, but it's bad, so, you're banned. That's gonna be life.
PSN account, I should say, if they're playing on PC, not PlayStation. So these were the countries that were added to the restrictions recently, which prompted the CEO to make the
We did it, boys. Officially can't play Helldivers. What a time to be alive.
response. And this was the Baltic region. So you had Estonia, Lithuania, and Latvia were added. Now, like your
best region in the world, okay? Listen. We are the original white people. Our subrace is literally called white. The only ones in the world. Everyone else of you, I'm sorry. But it is what it is.
Johan says this was an oversight. This should have been added with the current restrictions that were in place, and they were added later, so it looked bad. It looks like, hang on, is Sony actually going to start removing more countries?
God, is that just not satisfying how their evil circuits just get blown up? Beautiful.
Countries that they decide, hey, they ain't got PSN requirements, let's get them out of it. And it's just, it really, all round, is not a great look. And you can see here from community reaction, just literally go over to Reddit, go onto Twitter, just search Helldivers, and you'll see posts instantly about this. I've picked this one out because it made me laugh. And they just added 3 more countries, RIP to our fallen Helldivers. We refund Helldivers 2 in protest. Sony apologizes and backpedals. We buy Helldivers 2 again and also give positive reviews. And then we see it is still not available in all of those regions. IGN were also reporting that Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut is now also restricted on Steam in regions where PSN is not available, as Helldivers 2 adds the Baltics to its restricted regions. Now, like I said, what's going on here, and like Johan has explained, the game should not have been available in those regions because you cannot actually sign up for a PSN. So when the original restrictions were put in place, after the PSN requirement was enforced, they should have been added. They've just been added retroactively, so it looks like they're going ahead and updating the list, which apparently isn't the case. The issue is, though, it's still murky. Like, what is Sony doing? Like, they're not giving us any information here. All they've said is, okay, the Helldivers 2 PSN won't be a requirement, but it's going to be a requirement for all the other games that they're pumping out on Steam. So that would mean, and it would indicate that those...
I would hope that people just don't buy PSN games. Because let's be real, what actually PlayStation Sony games are worth it? Well, PlayStation Sony should just say PlayStation. On Steam. Not a lot of them, honestly. So if this completely tanks their sales, I think that's beautiful. I think that's the way it should be. I don't want to log into Steam, then log into PlayStation, then log into a subsect of PlayStation, then log into the PlayStation shooter part of the game, then log into this and, other 15 things. I don't want to do that. No. Principle. Literally just principle. I don't want to be a Muppet. I don't want to be that kind of meat popsicle.
Those games are never going to be viable in regions where you can't sign up for a PSN. Now, this is, it's kind of hilarious, to be honest, because Sony is shooting themselves in the foot. They're going to lose sales over this. Gabe from Valve is on record very publicly in the past saying the best way to defeat piracy is to give people a better service so they don't go and pirate. Well,
it's true. I have said that constantly. The moment the game is not worth the hustle, I just pirate it. I don't care. I suggest everyone does that in Minecraft.
People are going to pirate Ghost of Tsushima. I can't even speak anymore. Ghost of Tsushima. Ghost. I need a drink. They're going to go and pirate that anyway. And why are they going to do that? Because they can't actually buy the game on Steam. Because it's not available in their region. It's actually stupid. It is idiotic. So hopefully they reverse that. But the problem is Sony want everyone on a PSN account. The difference with Helldivers is they sold the game in those regions and didn't enforce the PSN requirement for nearly 4 months. That means they're in a bit of a, quagmire, ain't they? Because they've got to do something.
Well, they lied and backtracked, and then Arrowhead knew about this and kind of did nothing, and then just blamed Sony. Well, first being like, oh, it's not a big deal, guys. And then when the avalanche started, they're like, democracy and stuff. Man, this situation is just so not. I like drama, but this is one of those things I wish that didn't just happen, and we could have just kept on being great and whatnot.
About this, and their reaction was to say, okay, PSN isn't required for Helldivers 2 anymore, but crucially, they have not put the game back up for sale in the regions where PSN cannot be signed up for. So that is almost restricting people who can't sign up for PSN. And like I said in a recent video, wouldn't put it past Sony to give some sort of reward down the line, which then makes people want to actually sign up for PSN. So in the end, they get your data anyway. And even they could just play the longer game. And when more and more games get added to Steam, people inevitably buy them, inevitably link their PSN account. So they're going to get the Helldivers link anyway. Think about God of War comes out, God of War Ragnarok. I've not played that. I've played the God of War reboot on my PS5, but I've not played God of War Ragnarok. Will I play that on PC? Well, if I do that, I've got to link my PSN account. So they've got me.
No.
Anyway, I'm a Helldivers player. I'm linked anyway, you know what I mean? So Sony can easily play that long game. What I'm worried about, though, is more specifically for Helldivers, because this is a game that's built on community and heavily restricting the regions that it's playable in. Honestly, to me, it doesn't make any sense. So I want Sony to go back on this. I want them to make an exception. I want them to make an exception for all of their games as well. Let's be real. I don't want them to like restrict game sales.
If the community gets bored for Helldivers, if the community just is like, this is not worth it, I think Helldivers will die over the day, because the Helldivers 2 thing it's a community. It's an awesome community. And the moment that goes away, I think the game just falls off a cliff.
Just because you're in a region where you can't sign up with a PSN. Because all that happen is, in those regions, piracy will increase. It's stupid. Sort it out, Sony. It's not a good look. So Johan adds a bit more flavour on Twitter. It's a lot more than the accounts. Sony knowingly sold the game in 180 markets that they knew they were going to pull support from. They just added 3 more countries to the list of unsupported countries, making it 180 total countries that won't be able to play if PSN is required. And Johan says PSN won't be required, the sale will be honoured, and it won't be made unplayable. He then goes on to say, in response to this, thank you. Why have they continued to add more countries to the list of restrictions, though? It was an administrative technicality correction. I posted about it earlier, and of course, we covered that at the top of the video. So yeah, that's the situation at the moment with all of this. We're still waiting for Sony to go back on it. I think next week's going to be a pretty big week, because will they? That is the question. So what about collabs in Helldivers 2? Now, this is such great insight into the way Arrowhead are thinking about this. So this Twitter user says,
Is this about the Star Wars thing? Because, man, Helldivers 2 Star Wars looked amazing. I saw a little bit about it on Twitter. That stuff looked absolute fire.
Collabs come into place. I know we are not Fortnite, but still, imagine a Predator live event hunted by them rewards Predator armor. Now, this was in response to a tweet which was showing off a Star Wars mod for Helldivers 2. There's actually quite a lot of insane mods popping up for Helldivers 2 now. But remember, if you're going to mod the game, it's this possibility that the anti-cheat will ban you, which is not great. But Arrowhead, their official stance, or unofficial stance, is, yeah, go ahead and mod the game. But their official stance is, if you do and you get banned, we didn't mean that. It's the anti-cheat. Anyway, Johan says this.
Gotta love those anti-cheats, boys. Right, Vanguard, am I right? The best thing ever. We're just making gamers' life so much better. Oh, jeez. Why can't a decent anti-cheat exist? Has there ever been a decent anti-cheat that doesn't piss people off? I don't think so.
Imagine if there was a predator-like alien species in the Helldivers universe that were exiled from the galaxy that were planning vengeance. Well, I wonder what that could be. This is, of course...
I mean, again... The thing that's awesome about Helldivers is the way that it's built, you're literally landing on different planets, most of which who are just, the equivalent of Normandy and what's the jungle one called? I forgot. That one. That one. Most planets are like that, and there's no reason you just couldn't have, like, some kind of limited time event for a day, like, you land on this planet because of the stress beacon, and then you're hunted by a predator. They could add so many different things like this. As I said at the start when Helldivers 2 became popular, one of the cooler things that they could add is, like, this raid type scenario where you're actually assaulting a position and you need to push in, and it's not 4 players, it's like 30 players or something like that. Maybe limit the support artillery and things like that. But, you know, it would be awesome. Like, you know, you need to kill a giant bug queen or something like that. And there's lines of defenders that you need to defeat, and things happen from the sides. It could be so ridiculously awesome.
Teasing the next enemy faction, which is going to be added to the game. And somebody responds with Illuminated. And Johan says, I prefer Enlightened, but thank you. This is, of course, in reference to the Illuminate. They were the alien faction that were pushed out of the galaxy by the Helldivers in the First War. Now, I believe in the Helldivers lore, this is over 100 years ago, so for Helldivers 1, the Illuminated defeated, they're pushed out of the galaxy. Where are they? Well, they're coming back, and they're going to...
Which is... This is the sci-fi thing that's always strange, because they're supposed to be an advanced civilization. I mean, okay.
Come back with a vengeance, and when they come back, it's going to be an absolute nightmare. The question is, when are they coming back? Now, it is kind of a little bit spoilery, this is. I don't know how or when they're coming back, but we have... Well, I have seen videos, and I've seen media about Illuminate models. In fact, months and months ago, I actually made a video on it, but after that, I decided not to do that anymore. But we know it's the Illuminate that are coming. It's no surprise. But what I'm more interested about is how they're going to arrive, how their weapons are going to function, how their enemies are going to function. It's going to be awesome. What kind of mission types you're going to get. Really, honestly, it's going to be sick. But the question is, when are they going to do this? Because surely they've got some massive event planned for this, or I don't know. Honestly, I can't wait for this. It's going to be sick. But yeah, the Illuminate from Helldivers 1 are 100% coming to Helldivers 2. We just don't know when. But the CEO really enjoys teasing people on Twitter about it.
Damn right.
So let's drill down back on collabs. Look at this. Now this is Ghost of Tsushima. Tsushima. Why can I not say this anymore? I said it earlier on in the video. Now I've just lost my mind. Anyway, this is for their armor, which is inspired.
I mean, cool. Definitely cool, but I kind of don't care about that much. Weapon balance. Well, weapon balance is a constant issue and a thing that happens. So, best of luck there. Anyway, Stylosa, 10 out of 10. Bye.